Hi everybody, it's Mr. D at In the Middle of Mr. D, blogspot.com, and this is a pandemic chorus video for a teacher. I'm sure a lot of you have this question. I heard from a teacher today, and the question was, I'm curious what your turn-in rate is for assignments, whether it's Kahoot, Flipgrid, or whatever you're working on. Also, do you give out-of-school homework assignments, or is all the work done during class? I have seriously low turn-in rates. Some classes are better than others, relatively speaking, but it's still not good. Okay, so for those of you who missed the previous video, I kind of told the structure of my class, right? So you might want to take a look at that. It was one I did maybe a month ago. So I want to start with the fact that none of us has ever been through this, right? And we are trying to teach choir in a pandemic virtually. And so we have to hold the students compassionately accountable in the same way that we would want to be held compassionately accountable by our administrators, because we're all going to drop the ball some, right? So that's number one, right? And that leads everything. The tone that I set in the synchronous learning, I make sure, and I'm not saying to the kids, okay, I'm so sorry you're going through so much, but I'm not doing that. Like I will let them vent and I will let them say things, but I set the tone. I'm like, sometimes I'll randomly start class after I say a few things and get to know the kids, what's happening in their lives. I'm like, you guys know that if you're struggling with anything in this class and your grade is not what you want it to be, all you have to do is email me and I will help you. And we can meet on my Wednesday office hours. We can meet at the end of class. You can stay and be the last one. And because I always leave 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes at the end. They always have an assignment to submit. But like that is part of the compassionately accountable tone that I'm setting with the kids. But I'm not letting them off the hook. And here's how. So when I start my class, I always start with a Kahoot game, because it's how I can take attendance and show when they came and when they, if they were there and not there, and if they were late, I can see how many answers, if they ran off somewhere after they turned on their camera, right? Because I've got 80 kids in a class or whatever, and I can't always scan the room, and I make them be on camera. So this situation with the Kahoot, all you need to do is randomly put a 0 in the grade book and never tell them when you're going to do it. You missed the Kahoot that day, and you just plug it in, and you give everybody 100 who was there, and everybody gets 0 who wasn't. Magically, they start appearing at the beginning of your class for Kahoots, right? Flipgrid, at the end of class, I often give a Flipgrid assignment. The other day, they learned about eighth rests, and I asked them to submit an eighth rest rhythm that I put into a Flipgrid, and they had to be, it was due by like a certain time that day, and at the last 15 minutes of class, they were supposed to get it done. It shouldn't take any time. I say, go and do the Flipgrid right now. The due date is in 20 minutes, the due time. And then I can see when they do it, when they don't do it, if they don't follow my lead and they waste that time, they need to be held accountable, right? So I will give late grades. I give usually a compassionate late grade of a 70. If it's like a day or two late, or if it's just like a couple hours late, sometimes I don't even deal with it because I'm being compassionate. I'm trying to be compassionately, holding them compassionately accountable. With EdPuzzles, I use all of my real tests are on EdPuzzles. I do that because it grades itself, and it's easy for me to enter the grades. And they can't fast forward the videos, and it's interesting data that I get from EdPuzzles, right, with my students, because they are middle school kids, right? And I think about what you would have done in a pandemic. Some of you, not all of you, because most of us are responsible and successful adults, but at that time, maybe we weren't. So on the EdPuzzles, when I announce to kids I'm giving a test on Monday, magically, students who've been, AWOL forever, they'll show up to a test and they'll do it. I'm like, isn't that interesting? And then the other EdPuzzles that are just for learning, they don't, or they turn in late or whatever, right? Slap a 0 in that book, and magically they start doing the EdPuzzles, right? These are the things that I've learned. With Music Prodigy, yes, the answer to your question, do I give out-of-school homework assignments? Yes, I give Music Prodigy assignments because that's how I'm teaching my sight singing program online. And we're doing Zoom muted most of the time. I'll have individuals sing, or maybe 2 kids in 2 parts, but that's about it. So the singing is through Flipgrid, and the singing is through Music Prodigy. So I use those grades. So I make the Music Prodigies due every Wednesday at noon. And I also put a little thing in the Google Classroom telling them this as well, so that they get a double dose. Like I'll say it, I'll send them a remind, and then I'll put it in the Google Classroom, and I'll put a due date on it. So they have to go back in the Google Classroom and click done or whatever. But I'm not crazy with that, right? I can look at Music Prodigy and see if the grades came in and when they did it. So, but I do hold them accountable. You slap a 0 on a Music Prodigy they haven't done, and magically they start doing the Music Prodigy. This is what you have to do. And when they do it late, you give them a compassionate low grade, 70 or something, and you put late in the grade book. That's what I've been doing. And it has really made a difference. And so I will get emails from kids. I tell them to communicate with me, tell me what's going on. If you're having trouble, I offer anybody to meet with them on Zoom anytime on Wednesday, because I'm open during that day. And I do it. I meet with children. Like today, I met with a young 7th grade new child to my class, a parent who was not an English speaker, and the child was the English speaker. And the child's grade was 72, right? So this was not a good grade. This child she's new to me, but I could tell she's being super responsible, right? So I met with them on Zoom, and I learned that this child had not correctly entered into the Music Prodigy. She was doing the sample songs, and she didn't know there was anything else, and I had given 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, right? And so today, when I realized she'd done the sample songs instead of actually getting into my class, I dropped the ball on that, right? So I told the child, I'm sorry, I put 100 straight across, and I said, please do those assignments that you missed, but it's not your fault, it's my fault, right? This is being compassionate to the kids, holding them compassionately accountable. She had been trying to do everything that I had given. And so those are the things that keep me up at night, is like not thinking that there are some children that are experiencing that I have not caught yet when you have 300 kids. So you also have to hold yourself compassionately accountable. You have to be compassionate during this time, right? That is the tone we are always setting with the kids, right? So I hope that helps and answers some questions for everybody who's dealing with this grand new world. And I'm going to say it now, as I've said it a lot throughout this time, this is temporary. Choral music is not over. We are all going to be singing again. And when we are, it's going to be the best art we've ever made. So hang in there.